DC here. Hi, guys and gals. Hey, hope you're well. It is Sunday afternoon. Oh my goodness, it's late. It's 5:30 in the afternoon, and I thought I'd come in and have a little chat. It was kind of having ups and downs today. Ever since yesterday, I was told that one of my uncles, I probably could say my favorite uncle, has passed away. He's 89, going on 90. And yeah, he was like the alpha male of the family. He was the guy who was hard smoking, hard drinking. He wasn't hard loving. He had one woman, but he was the guy, the hunter, the fisherman. He was the deputy chief of the firemen, head of the snowmobile club, one of the heads of the baseball or softball club. It was a village in town. He was part of the. He would make actually soup for the kids at school. The whole village called him Pawpaw. Well, Pepper in French, but it was Pawpaw anyway. I mean, he was like a fixture of the village, and we were all like so proud of him. I mean, the guy would go off on when it was hunting season. He'd have his camper. Him and his wife would put a four-wheel on a trailer in back, his boat on top, and they'd go off with their fishing rods and their guns, and they'd come back with quail, with fish, and so on. Already, he was just incredible. And he's gone. This is a picture I have. Actually, my grandmother gave me this picture, and it's a picture of her family. So there's my dad, actually, who is here. This is the man I'm talking about here. So my dad's been gone since 2019. He was 20 in this picture, and my uncle was 18. And he was the last one, and that's where actually it's getting to me. I guess I'd have to say is that he was the last one of this family. So the generation, everyone on this picture now, has passed on. And I don't know, there's just something about me that kind of like, I almost kind of like died also within. Because, blockers itch. Because, it was like he was still there. So there was like also something of my dad, of my grandmother. My grandfather died when I was a year and a half, and I actually remember that. I mean, I guess it was because it was so dramatic. It's my first memory, I would say. But yeah, in that picture, and what really gets to me a little bit is, and you've heard this before from other people, is how old the people actually look in this. Like my granddad would have been, he's 50, he is probably 50 years old here. And my grandmother, that means she would be around 40. But I keep looking at how people dressed then and how they look. I always find they look older than we did at 40 or 50 years old. Oh, it really affected me. I was having a chat just earlier. I started to do this vlog first, and then my FaceTime rang, and it was Tweetness. Thank you, Irene. We had a really long chat, and you know what? I had to let it out. I really did. It was like I say, like it was like part of my childhood. It just died all of a sudden. He was also. We lived in the same village, so when my cousins, we would play, we would be together pretty much all summers together. We were in the same classes, and they moved off to Alberta, except for one son. So him, his wife, and one son and his family stayed in the village, and everyone else left, and we left as well. So whenever I'd go back to Canada, I'd have to go and, well, see him and his wife, of course, and just kind of like bask into my childhood memories going there. You'd go into his home, and it would be like going into, I was just going to say, any good old redneck's house. There were fish on the wall, deer heads, moose heads, antlers, guns. Um, it was like he was one of the boys, if you know what I mean. And such a friendly, good person. I mean, as far as the society was. I mean, like I say, he was part of the. Well, he was just basically an institution over there, and that was really a big thing. Yeah. So yeah. So like I say, my uncle. Yeah, he was like he was the man, and I like to remember all those times. It was like he was he was one of those guys that when I was a kid, we kind of feared and revered him. I mean, because he was a no nonsense person, um, and he mellowed as he aged. I don't many of us do that actually. When I say mellowed, I mean he was like he could be pretty abrasive when he was young, but then he kind of became like a mentor type person as he aged. And I saw that in the village when I was, even on Facebook, I've had kind of chats with people that knew him. And, he was just like one of those people one of those persons that people looked up to. He didn't have a particularly big education. He was a mechanic. He was, and he was one of these guys that actually didn't have much professional ambition, but he loved his family, and he loved people. And I guess that was it. Maybe that was it. I guess it was that there were a lot of qualities in him that I realized that are good qualities. I mean, like I'm also a family man. I probably had more professional ambition in that respect than he did, but he had a lot of social. I realize it now actually that he had a lot of social graces in the community way. He was a community man. Like I say, he was deputy fireman, deputy head of the firemen, and the number of people and number of homes that he's saved over his lifetime, and things like that, and the things he would do for the different kindergartens, making soup and so on. The way he would be overall and with the youth, softballs and stuff like that, the snowmobile team, groups and clubs and so on. So I realized he was a community man. Yeah, interesting. I've seen that a lot actually in a lot of my relatives that weren't great politicians, but I saw I put on Facebook, I mentioned, and all the words and all the praise that came from people from the village about him is being very impressive as far as I'm concerned. I could see he was a man who was loved by his community. Yeah, so I'm not shedding a tear now because I did before, but yeah, you'll be missed, Uncle Raymond. You really will be. I'll be DC signing off. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.